Sam, what's up, bro? Rockford, Illinois, City First Church. How you doing, man?
Dylan, I'm doing good, man. How are you doing over in God's territory, Tennessee over there? How you
Man,
doing?
it's great. It's great. It's a little rainy today. You know, I was in SoCal a few days ago and enjoying the weather, 72 degrees. Get back home, and within 24 hours, we get 7.5 inches of snow.
So I'm not sure what's going on here. We are going to hit 70 today. We're going to hit 70, which I feel like I was robbed of my winter this year.
Mhm.
Like I haven't snowboarded once. I've gone sledding like barely one time with my kids. So I don't know what's going on. This has been a weird year.
And I can always know when I'm talking to somebody from Illinois because I just said 7.5 inches of snow, and that didn't even. Yeah, you're like, yeah, that's cool. What is that? What are you bragging? I have lived in Tennessee collectively for a long time, and
Yeah.
20 plus years, and I have never seen 7.5 inches of snow ever.
See, I grew up in Wisconsin, and I had a good chunk of time I spent in Florida. But growing up in Wisconsin and now being back in the Midwest, yeah, 7.5 inches. You're like, yeah, it's a solid base. Like that gets you started. You know,
Yeah,
what else
that's
you
the
got?
morning run. Yeah, for sure.
That's,
All right,
that's
so Sam, bro, man, you are by far one of my most favorite people, man. I am super stoked that you're on this podcast, and I knew when I started doing this, I was like, I need Sam on it. You know, you've done a podcast with Amplio Group, and we haven't aired that yet. We're shameless plug. We're airing that. We're starting to air all that this coming week and next week. But I'm just excited you're here, man. You will add value to not only me today, but you will add value to our listeners. And you are a pastor at heart, and that's what I want. I want you to dive in. And the article that we are talking about was written, it's called Worship Leader Voice. And the idea of that was really to challenge myself and challenge maybe a couple others. At the time I was on staff at a church, to challenge my team to just be who you are all the time. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, like, oh yeah, that's what I'm told. But man, we like the idea of being focused on the right things is so important. And that goes all the way to your personality on and off the stage, to spending 2.5 hours trying to pick out what shoes you're going to wear on Sunday morning. And so I really just want to just talk about this idea, and I want to listen this morning. I want you to just be Pastor Sam and bring it and tell us your heart and tell us what you think about this article. Again, for the listener, this idea of having guests on for a podcast to kind of recap the article is not for you guys to just come on and agree with everything. It's just a point of topic for conversation. And you being an incredible worship leader, incredible worship pastor at City First in Rockford, Illinois, this just makes sense that you would do this article. You lead tons of people. You have a huge volunteer team. City First is just crushing it in every way. How many campuses? I know for a fact you have 2, and I think you have a 3rd, right?
There's a 3rd. Yeah, they're currently merged with us because of all the wildness of the last couple of years. But yeah, 3 locations, and then Church Online, City First Anywhere, with people joining in from all over. We're in a really cool season right now. Yeah.
And then Cape Coral,
Florida. Yes. So we have locations in Illinois and in Florida. We also have 2 God Behind Bars locations, one in Illinois, one in Florida. Those are our favorite locations. We love those guys. And yeah, man, dude, I just want to say thanks for having me on. First time I met you, Dylan, like I felt like someone was calling me to a higher standard. I was like, dang, I just bumped shoulders with a really, really sharp leader.
Yeah, right. I appreciate that.
No, for real, man. That was the start of our friendship, and our friendship has been life-giving since then. So thanks for having me on. And it's a mutual love, man. I'm so grateful for your influence in my life. Yeah, love it.
Totally agree. I totally agree. I appreciate that, bro. I've now worked with City First teams for 6 years. I don't know, 6 years, 7 years. Before you were the worship pastor there, I was helping Lisa with Original Conference, and I'm still doing Original Conference. I'll be back this year, hanging out with the team and just
coming up. Yeah, baby.
It's so cool. We talked about that in the other podcast, just how I've kind of just taken a back seat at Original and just watching the growth of the team, of like the leadership just go through the roof there. And I'm just like standing back going, man, these guys got it, bro. This is happening. Like, and I point that towards your leadership, bro. I really do. The shift really started taking place when you came in, and It's incredible. So, all right, enough of the lovey-dovey bromance stuff. So, okay, I want to dive into this. At the time of this recording, you just came out of Easter planning. Your mind is probably thinking Easter is almost here and we got to go. So,
right.
so shifting gears in your mind here a little bit and talking on the fact of being who you are at all times. You know, I call that the worship leader voice, all the way to the point to where literally I've heard guys and girls change their voices on the platform, and I'm just like, come on, man, just you're not a rock star. Let's just take us into the presence of God. So just dive in, bro. Preach to me. Let me have it. Give me a word. What are you feeling like this morning?
Well, I think you're hitting the nail on the head for a huge thing we're seeing in culture right now, which is people that are just copying. They're not bringing something original. They're not bringing something authentic. And I feel like it's currently a temptation that any of us can face. Hey, I'm not maybe in the disciplines to the level that I wish I was. So what did that guy do last week? Okay, I'm going to take that and I'm going to use it. And I think that then leads to what you describe in the article, that worship leader voice of like, who just said that to me? Like, that is not how that person sounds in the green room. That's not how the person sounds at Circle Up. Like, they were at my house watching a game last week. Like, that's not how they sound, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways that it can come about. One is that copy temptation. And then two, I think it's this idea that you're maybe supposed to be something that you're not. And all of us have people we look up to, right? That artist or that church or that one vocalist that you're like, man, if I could just be like them, like then I would have it, right? Like that's probably what people want. But I mean, I have been taking in Craig Groeschel's content for years, and he's like, no. People always want to follow a leader who's always real, you know, and he follows up with rather than someone who's always right. But that real part, I think a lot of times, especially in the church world where comparison can be so real, you try to substitute and replace with something you see someone else doing, thinking that's what people want. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, people want the authentic you on stage. And I'm thankful for my leaders, Pastor Jeremy and Jen. I feel like they have been the healthiest example for me and my family to follow and learn from, to go, how do you be the same person on stage that you are off stage? And I feel like it's something that we fight for at City First as well. Is we're big on vocabulary, we're big on language, we're big on, hey, here's what we say, here's what we don't say, and we don't do that to strive for perfection. We do that to strive for authenticity. And
yeah, it's good.
We have this thought a lot when it comes to like stage vocabulary is, how can we teach through what we say? And I've been in so many church services where you jump in and someone just starts shouting at you, and I'm maybe there with my wife and I'm like, hey, she hasn't even set her purse down. Like, can you relax a little bit? Like, stop screaming at me.
Yep.
And
we've all been there.
And the things they're saying are so insider. It's so easy to go insider with what we say from stage. And so, we do some really intentional things to try to take those barriers down anytime we have a chance to communicate from stage, because we want to always be explaining what's happening. We want to help people feel like they can be a part of it, not like they're an outsider because they don't get the vocabulary, I mean, it's bro talk today, right? We're hanging out. Like,
oh, that's all it is, man.
So, I mean, I'll go there. Like,
well, before you go there, I want remember that thought, because I want to. You said at the beginning of this whole thing, disciplines. When you're not in your disciplines or something like that.
Yeah.
What are some of those disciplines? What are some of those things that I should be as a worship leader or a leader of influence? What are some disciplines you're referring to when you said that?
Well, I think it's the daily. And a lot of times we put all of our efforts towards Sunday, and we think that that's the thing where it all needs to happen. And that is the spot where it all needs to go down, right? Sunday is king, never just another Sunday, like most important day of the week. But I've been in seasons where that's the only day I turn it on. and those Sundays aren't as strong. So for me, I think it's the daily disciplines of spending time in God's word, spending time in prayer. And then I recently just had the opportunity to speak on personal worship and what that looks like outside of just the times where the band is fired up and the lights are on and the click track's going, you know? So for me, I've actually had some greater connections with God in my own personal time of worship. And I think we've complicated that as a culture. Like we've made it really, really weird to do that, you know? And so for me, those daily disciplines, one of them is literally I go, "Hey, Alexa, play my prayer playlist." And bam, that puppy fires up. And rather than turn on a show or turn on the news while I'm eating my breakfast, I just start my worship time there.
It's
And
cool.
there's times where I pause, I lift my hands, I get down on my knees, I go for it because I'm like, hey, like I'm in a relationship with Jesus, you
Yeah,
know?
because you do those things on the platform, but
Yeah,
those often don't do them off the platform. And I'm guilty of all this, by the way. This is not a pointing fingers at any worship leader on the platform. I'm no longer a worship leader on the platform, but when I led, dude, I was so guilty of that I was super visual on the platform,
sure.
and then in my personal life, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You know, I'm with you.
Well,
It's a great word, bro. It's a great word.
one of my mentors early on, he was like, as a worship leader, like you're a carrier of this message. You're delivering this truth. You're carrying this hope. So he's like, how can that only be something you do when your guitar's around your neck and you're on stage? He was like,
Mm-hmm.
if we're carriers of that message, we have to walk in that discipline every day. And he challenged me with this. He said, why would you allow anything into your life that would be offensive to the presence of God? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why have you categorized your time saying, well, I can watch this show and yeah, the content's maybe not anything I would want my church to know I take in, but this time's different. Like, it's okay. This is time for me. And that just really challenged me to live with integrity. And I'm very much on that journey. I'm very much just like everybody else. You know, there's shows that you go, you know, it'll be okay.
Right.
And
Totally. Mm-hmm.
but I always want to walk with that discipline and that conviction so that when we get to the platform, it's not just this other gear that we find, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the Beyonce Sasha Fierce gear, right? Like, all right,
Right.
I'm on stage, I gotta go.
Right.
um, I feel like the people that I admire most and want to walk closest with, it just seems like on stage they don't have enough time to talk about the thing that they're doing each and every day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how does that guy follow Jesus? Like, that's the guy I want to learn from. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I
It's
think
good.
personal worship. I think it's the basic stuff, but it's the easiest stuff to bypass because we can expect the song to carry the moment. You know, and yeah, I think those disciplines are undervalued and under practiced, and I've been guilty of that at different seasons in my life. And I can definitely see a difference in the seasons where I've been on and where I've been off.
It's a great word, bro. It's so good. Thank you for diving into that. So then now catching back up to where I interrupted you, bro talk. You said, man, we're just bros talking, right? So I want to dive in. Do you remember that thought?
I remember. Okay, so here's my thing. Think about culture, think about life. Like, where else do we all get together and sing? All right, we've been having this discussion with our team a lot lately. And it's like, okay, yeah, take off your hat, sing the national anthem. Um, you know, if it's the seventh inning, you're gonna hear Sweet Caroline in the break. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's there's very few moments where we actually come together and sing. So if you think about it, coming together and singing is a little strange. It's a little weird, you know? Like, we're not all just singing happy birthday. We're singing all of these other songs with really interesting words that describe this very ethereal topic, you know, and all this stuff. So for me, I say this to our team a lot. I go, I don't think worship and I don't think church is as weird as it is unexplained. That's my life's theory. I don't think what we do is weird, but I think often it's unexplained. So for me, if I'm going to go there, I'm like, don't hit me with some churchy sentence about all these things that don't apply to me right now, okay? And I don't want to give an example because I don't want to offend anyone, but
Sure.
my solution to that is, why don't you stand to your feet? We're going to sing together right now. We're going to take some time. And as we sing these songs, we're giving praise back to God. We think he deserves all of our attention, all of our focus right now. Come on, let's sing together. Whereas you can get in other environments where different words are used that, unless you're an insider, you don't know what they are. And that's just off the cuff, and we haven't had stage drills yet today. So that's
stage what?
Stage drills.
What's that mean?
So as a team, we do stage drills, which is everyone comes in. We have a leadership college, so our student body comes in as well as our staff, and we present a real-time scenario. Hey, worship just ended. Here's the song you're coming out of, and you're going to set up a story about life change. You got 60 seconds. Go.
That's
Boom.
cool.
And then people come up, they MC that moment, and then we pause with a timer. Everything we pause. Our team critiques it, gives them feedback, and then you do it again.
That's cool.
And yeah, we just do that. It's really helped people. Honestly, we've discovered communicators that way, and we've helped people refine their communication. But talking on stage, again, it's this whole thing. Like, a lot of times you can get on stage in this vocabulary that doesn't exist any other place in your life, all of a sudden starts coming out, and then you watch that back and you're like, I don't talk like that.
Right.
So we have put practices in place to try to be the same on stage as we are off stage. And also, I think we want to steward the fact that people are trusting us with their time, and they're trusting us to help them build their understanding of who God is,
Right.
So anytime we have a chance to speak, I want to speak life. I want to speak truth. I want to speak hope. I want to speak scripture. And I want to do it in a way that feels like it's just you and me, you know?
Right.
I don't shout anytime I'm talking, unless I'm at my kid's baseball game or he's doing something he shouldn't be doing. But
Totally.
But outside of that, I don't shout, and some people get there, and that's okay, because there are people that's authentically them. So it's not a criticism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we're big on feedback culture to go, hey, how can I make you feel welcome here and make you feel like you're not different than me? We're the same, and we're both just on a faith journey trying to pursue Jesus.
Yeah, that's good. And I know that we're referencing Stephen Brewster's podcast with Christian Karaoke. I think that was his podcast. Yeah,
I think you're right.
And you're talking a lot on that, and you're adding so much value to that. I think that's so good. And just be who you are and lead strong. And in every situation, I put a line in this article that says we want people to think we are better than we are because we are confused. And it's funny. This is probably the most gut punching article that I've written so far, and it has the least amount of reads. And
really,
yeah, and I think there's a reason for that. I think
that's interesting.
I think nobody wants to hear this, including myself. I'm not on the platform again. I'm just going to keep saying that, but I do lead groups of people, and so that there is my platform in itself. And I want people to think that I have it all figured out. My flesh wants that, at least, and I want to look good at all times, and I want to make sure that people look at me and they say, I could follow this guy. Where I'm confused is I want them to follow me because of the way I look and the way I talk and the way I do this and the way I do that. I don't want people to follow me because I'm a good leader. And that's where we get confused, I think. This article is really short. I'm not calling myself a good leader. I want to be a good leader. Just to say that, I'm not saying I want people to follow me because I'm a good leader. I'm saying I want people to follow me because I want to be a good leader. I want to add value. I want people to add value to me, but yet I get so confused because I focus on the things that just don't matter. And I'm sure someone's listening to this going, yeah, that might be me as well. Or it could just be me. I'm not sure. What do you think are some ways that people could be confused outside of what I just said? And this you may need to take some time on this question, but as a listener, I think it's important that if someone's taking 30 minutes of their day and listen to this podcast, first of all, I couldn't be more honored. Like, that means the absolute world to me.
Yeah.
And I hope that you get done listening to this and it just adds value to you. So with that said, there may be a leader listening right now who goes, man, I need to make this shift in my mind. But I am confused on what I could be confused on. So what are some ways that you think leaders could be confused in this scenario, outside of what I just said? Or you can repeat and add and take away, whatever you want to do. What do you think?
Well, I think we have to slow down and remind ourselves that the only perfect person is Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times we can strive for perfection in our own ways, whether that's no wrong notes while we play, or no wrong notes while we sing, or no ums or ums in between our sentences that we're delivering, whatever it is. Like when I listen to sportscasters, I'm like, how are you not feeling with the word
Yes.
I'm blown away by their delivery.
I'm terrible at that.
And I think there's a difference between being perfect and being authentic. And a lot of times people strive for perfection. And I think especially in the zone we're talking about, let's say church leadership, I feel like we are the ones that place that expectation on ourselves. I've never had a leader push that expectation onto me to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I've had leaders put expectation, and in hindsight, it was all good expectation. It pushed me, it made me think, it helped me prepare more than I maybe would have. But my pastor said this last week, Pastor Jeremy. He said, some of us, he was quoting, and I can't remember who said it. I'll send it to you after we're done recording. But he said, we need to stop listening to ourselves so much. We need to start talking to ourselves, saying, hey, tell yourself what you need to hear, instead of listening to those insecurities that can come out that make us strive for these impossible expectations. I had a counselor say this to me. She was like, are you only as good as your last performance? Like in your mind, like, is that your bar? And that like was eye opening for me, for one, to go, holy cow, like I've been holding myself to a standard that really is impossible to attain. So it was freeing. But also I felt like from there, I was able to start taking steps towards, hey, perfection can't be the goal because it's impossible, but also that's not what anyone wants.
Right.
We should bring our best. Absolutely. Like I said earlier, like people are trusting us with their time. It's really important that we steward that well in all ways. I mean, we could talk about that for hours. You've got great content on that. But I think a lot of times we hold us to an impossible standard that's self-implicated. And we need to remember that even God himself is not calling us to that standard. That's why he sent Jesus, so we could know him, and we didn't have to try to do it on our own. Like the thing we sing about can be the thing we forget quickest when it comes to our own standards that we place on ourselves. So I think we need to remember, hey, as I step on stage today, I'm only here because of the grace of God. And today's only going to be successful because of God's Spirit moving through the thing that I do. And even on my best day, I'm still not the thing that makes a difference. It's all God's Spirit working through me. So I think the good days and the bad days, we have to be anchored in that, because otherwise it grows into pride. Today was good because of me,
Yep.
And it's like, no, that's never the case. But often we leave going, man, today was terrible because of me. Now, if you had something you should have done better, yeah, like fix that, grow from it,
Right.
Get better.
Yep.
But I think the thing we've convinced ourselves people want isn't actually what they want. They want an authentic worship leader, an authentic pastor, an authentic life group leader, whatever facet people find themselves leading in that are listening to this. People just want the authentic you. So I've said this, good. Like live the life worthy of your calling,
That's good.
Don't just try to turn it on when you're in front of the people. You got to live it day in and day out. And then when you're in front of the people and you've done your prep, God's going to orchestrate everything that needs to happen, and he'll take care of the rest,
Totally. To add to that, I ran across this TikTok video, and
I love really TikTok.
Me too, bro. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm not, but it's just so good. Like I've been bored on Instagram scrolling. I've been bored on definitely Facebook scrolling.
Yep.
But man, when I'm on TikTok, bro, I am not bored at all. I am
Okay.
laughing. I am crying. It is so
Yeah.
good.
I have followed a few select producers, and I feel like I've learned more about music production from
Yeah.
TikTok than I have. So,
Totally.
I'm in it for that zone, but I also get a good laugh here and there. Okay, you came across the TikTok video, and
this girl was hurt by the church, and so she wrote a song. Incredible voice, like incredible. And
wow.
yeah, this got to me. If you're listening to this and you're a church leader, this should wreck your world, and this should challenge you more than you've ever been challenged when it comes to this topic. I'm going to sing it to you. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to sing it.
Oh, I wanted it.
Okay. Let me grab my guitar.
Do it.
Public figure for a pastor, wearing all the latest fashion, standing on a stage, everybody knows his name. Messages of selflessness spoken by the self-obsessed, telling you to just repent and you'll finally be okay. But he's got no idea the kind of things you're dealing with when life deals you a crappy hand and all you know is to pretend. Not looking for a savior, you're just looking for a friend. And the only way you'll find it is to never go to church again.
Oh my gosh.
That right there are the people that we're trying to reach. And in two ways, you had church people that she was church and she's church hurt, and then you have unchurched people. And that's why when I write stuff like this, I'm like, this is such a great reminder that as church leaders, we have to focus on the right things. People can, in 2022, with what's going on in our world, people can sniff fake out quicker than anybody out there. And it's just one of those things. If you're not looking for a savior, you're looking for a friend.
Wow.
If you want either one of those, don't go to church again. That was
so
the last.
sad, man.
I'm not saying I agree with this statement. What I'm saying is, unfortunately, this is becoming a reality on church leadership because we focus on the wrong things. And so I know that's heavy, and we're already 30 minutes in, and I'm trying to keep these below 30. So if you have a thought on that, then dive in. If not, man, I want to leave the listener with that challenge of, man, we need to focus on the right things. It's not just for us. We are focusing on the right things because eternity matters and salvation matters. And unfortunately, we can very quickly steer someone off of church life because of a decision we've made personally to walk on the platform and make it all about us. And people see that. They see that. And so there's that. What you can add to that, or you don't have to add to that. It doesn't matter.
I think I have a couple thoughts. I know time has gone, but that challenges me to walk closely with the people I have the privilege of leading.
Mm-hmm.
It's a privilege to be a leader, and we should be servant leaders. We should be serving the people that show up to serve on Sundays, capital C Church.
Yep.
And that challenges me to journey closely with people at whatever frequency I can. It looks different, for each team member that I have. And man, it just challenges me to look at Sundays as Stephen Brewster, man, never just another Sunday.
Yep.
And that phrase comes out of one of our leaders' mouths every single week in our team huddles and our prayer circles and all of it. And we do that because she could be on her faith journey still. This girl that wrote this song, man, makes me want to pray for her right now. That profile could be walking through the church doors today, and today could be the day where they reconnect with Jesus. Or that person who's hopeless could be walking through the door for the first time, and we have the chance to introduce them to hope. We have the chance to share life with them. I've challenged myself this year to be a leader that speaks scripture. Anytime I have a chance to influence someone, I want it to be God's truth, not mine. Yeah, man, it challenges me to be praying for Sundays going into it, because you just don't know who's walking into the room.
You never
And
know. You never know.
God help us to steward what we've been given and not get so focused on, those false expectations. But like you said, to keep the main thing, focus on the right things.
Mm.
You need to send me that video.
I just did. Already did.
Okay, great.
I saved it. I'm afraid I was going to lose it, and I'm afraid it'd be taken down or she'd take it down later. And so I just saved it. So
I think we're a part of a movement that's always going to be imperfect. We're imperfect people serving a perfect God. And we want to do our best to avoid moments like that. But I also believe, even for that girl, like, that doesn't have to be the end of her story.
Yeah.
And even leaders that have maybe drifted into that place where they've got the worship leader voice and they don't feel like themselves, it doesn't have to be the end of the story.
Yeah.
I still ask for feedback from my boss, Lisa. She's an amazing leader. I step off stage and go, what can I do better? What sounded weird? In church, we can say weird things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not as weird as it is unexplained. And so I just make that my goal, because I want to debunk that legalism, that even that song flirts with. I just want to debunk that and go, hey, it's not about me. It's about Jesus. And I might make mistakes as I lead you, but I'm always going to do my best to learn from it. You want to go on this road with me? And God help me to hear his voice while I do it.
Yeah. Here, I'll just play it. It's just too good. I want you to hear it now. There is a bad word in this. The caption says crappy, but she says the other word, and I just want you to know as a listener. But
thanks for the preface. I appreciate that.
You're not hearing that, are you? It's in my iPhone. It's my AirPods. Stand by. All right.
Public figure for a pastor, wearing all the latest fashion, standing on a stage where everybody knows his name. Messages of selflessness spoken by the self-obsessed, telling you to just repent and you'll finally be okay. But he's got no idea the kind of things you're dealing with when life deals you a shitty hand, and all you know is to pretend. Not looking for a savior, you're just looking for a friend. And the only way to find it is to never go to church again.
Bro, does that not, like, A, she can sing, and B, she's got great melodies, but C, the most important part to focus on there is unfortunately a lot of truth behind that. And so, man, share that with your teens this weekend. Let them know the importance of being real on the platform, because people can sniff it out, bro. They're going to sniff it out. The church, we need to make a shift. And especially with leadership, and we got to start focusing on the right thing. There's a lot of great churches who do. There's a lot of churches who don't. There's a lot of great leaders who do. There's a lot of great leaders who don't, including myself on the don't side. And man, I just want, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, this has been a good podcast, Sam has really brought it down. If you're going to walk away with one thing, walk away and walk on the platform on Sunday and just be who you are. Let that be your driving force. Just be who you are. People need that. They need to see that realness in you. They need to connect with you. They need to know you're a real person. They need to know you're a true person. They need to know that you are also struggling with things, and that you, like you said, Sam, you're not called to be perfect. And sometimes, and we just make ourselves out to be that way, and it's just not true. So it's important to be who you are at all times.
Okay.
So Sam, bro, I appreciate you being on this, man. I just want you to know, at the end of the day, I'm for you. I'm on your team. I'm always rooting for you in Knoxville. You are such a pastor at heart. And man, I hope this adds value to one person when they listen to this. That's my prayer. If it adds value to one person, I will keep doing this until the day I die, because I feel like it's so important that people can just get a 30-minute bump, 30-minute encouragement, 30-minute keep going, keep fighting, and maybe an alignment if there needs to be an alignment. So appreciate you, bro. How can we find you? What are you doing? Where are you at? we've already said all that, but like, what's your personal social? Talk about your anthem and City First Worship and everything God's doing in that moment, and how can we follow you and listen to that EP and so forth?
Yeah, man. Well, dude, I just want to say, keep up the good work. I'm always listening to the content you're sharing. It helps keep me in alignment. And I think we all need that. We never graduate from that process. So thank you for being someone who's going after the content and getting it and sharing it with us. I know I'm taking it in, and even people on my team are taking it in. So thanks for what you're doing, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
And you can check us out at City First Worship. We've got an EP that we dropped. It's called Anthem. The songs are songs of declaration, songs of faith, heartbeat of our church. We want to see cities full of hope and people full of purpose. And we just want to help people find Jesus in any way that we possibly can. Samuel, VDH, you can follow me on Instagram. And yeah, bro, I love you too, man. Thanks for having me on. Can't wait to see you here in like a month and a half. We get to hang and make the conference happen. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Well, I should bring the podcast gear. Let's do another one.
Dude, bring it on down, man. We're going to have some peeps around. You got to get some City First peeps up on here. That'd be good.
I'd love to, bro. That'd be awesome. Lisa's coming on, and we're going to talk about leaders, your attitude matters. I highlighted her in this article, and I wrote it, and I'm like, I know a lot of great leaders that have a lot of great attitudes, but I've never seen someone like Lisa Seaton walk into a room, and just people are just like, there's two ways. I don't want to start preaching on this, but people can often two ways, man. They can run from your leader or they run to your leader. And I've seen people run to her. And so I want to highlight her on here, and she's gonna bring it down. So she's on here soon. So
that's going to crush. I will be listening to that episode.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited. All right, Sam. Love you, bro. We'll see you soon.
Dude, love you too, man. Peace.
See ya.